why don't you start this off? Because I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what not. And you know a lot more of the red tape with the situation, so I'll let you
Well,
walk.
we know that Chris Kindred was fired about 7 months ago. It was actually a little over 7 months ago because he
And for
wasn't
those,
fired
well,
exactly.
fired from Sweet
Sweet
Baby
Baby
Inc.
Inc. Yes.
For those that don't know.
He actually, funny enough, now there are now 3 people who are no longer working at Sweet Baby Inc., which I think is quite interesting.
Wow.
But Chris was the first one to go, and he was not let go; he was fired. So,
Are you at
but
liberty to say why or no?
um,
I don't want to put you on the spot if you're not, by the way. I just
basically, I'm not really allowed to say too much, but the reason he was fired was specifically because of all the stuff that he was doing online,
Mhm.
and that was particularly an issue for a lot of people involved in the team. So they specifically got to a point where it was kind of like, okay, like he's gone too far. And from what I've been told, and I'm not saying definitively, but from what I've been told, uh, there was a lot of uproar around what he did with Cabrutus, and there was a lot of uproar around what he did with you, Smash. And so it wasn't long after that where people were like, okay, we've had enough, and he needs to go. And they
Well,
still haven't announced that he's gone because they don't want to like admit that we were right.
mhm,
But I
mhm.
think that this is pretty conclusive now that
Oh, it's
he's
very cut and
gone.
dry. Like when that situation happened, I had people like I know I'm very trusted and I wouldn't make shit up, but I had people that were like, "How do you know that he's the one that called your old job?
Well,
How do you
he's stupid because he left his, as you said, he left his phone number up, and I even found it too. So yes, it is his phone number.
phone number from the caller ID and the phone number that he left was the phone number that matched on his website where he lists his own phone number." I'm
Oh,
like,
and
"Bro,
I guess I could drop this piece of information. I mean, it's already conclusive, as you said, but I can tell you that it is. I got confirmation that it was 100% him who did it. So it
mhm."
wasn't even just a coincidence. It was 100% him. Like there was no maybe it was someone else using a number. No, it was him.
Now, I want everyone to understand what this person tried to do to me for daring to cover the industry and give my thoughts on it. They contacted where they thought that I worked and tried to get me fired. Like that was the intent. He contacted them, told them, made up a lot of lies about me, said I was extremely racist and saying these awful things about people and all this. And do you know that your employee is doing this online? And oh, it's a horrible thing. And oh my God, all this stuff going on and on and on with them. And they were like, sir, this is a Wendy's. Like they were like very confused. They're like, what the hell?
Yeah, I
Because like
remember
he doesn't
hearing
even
about
work
this
here anymore.
and seeing your video on it, and it's crazy because I do know that there were people out there like trying to say that it wasn't true, and you were just like, that's what they always do. But
Yep.
it 100% was him, and honestly, in
And
a weird way.
mhm.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead. In
I
a
was gonna
weird
say,
way.
in a weird way, we kind of have to, as I mean, obviously, the fact what he tried to do was terrible, and to you and to Cabrutus, but we kind of have in a weird way to kind of, it's weird.
Uh-oh. I think we lost you. It's kind of like Cabrutus, and in a weird way, it's well, maybe you're rebooting and jacking back into the matrix, so I'll start talking while we wait for you. But for those that don't know, Chris Kindred reached out and contacted where I used to work, fully thinking that I was there. Said all these awful things, and then one of my old coworkers, who I was still in touch with at the time, called me, and they're like, "Bro, you're not gonna believe what just happened." And I was like, "What?" They told me the whole thing. I was like, "Oh my God, there's no way. There's no way." I'm like, no one's even gonna believe me when I make this video that someone from Sweet Baby Inc. just tried to call and get me fired by calling me a racist to a company. Um, and they gave me all the information because they're like, "Yeah, we don't care. Like, whatever. Here's the information. They asked for you. They asked about you. They said all these things about you. Here's all the information." I was like, "Oh, thanks. Cool. Thanks, man."
Well,
Oh,
What
you're
I was
back.
saying before I got cut off,
Okay.
which I don't know what's going on with their internet. It used to be fine, and now it's just completely messing up. I don't know why.
Mhm. No
Hopefully, I
worries.
won't be roboting too much.
No, go on. So you
But
were
what I
saying?
was saying was, in a weird way, I mean, what he did to you and Brutus was terrible, and
Mhm,
obviously, but at the same time, we kind of, in a weird way, have to thank him in a weird way because if it, I mean, honestly, I'm surprised that they didn't fire him sooner
mhm,
because you really think that like he was one of the main reasons that all this kind of started up.
mhm,
So like
mhm,
if I was them, they could have. I mean, I think that the damage was done, but
mhm.
I think if they had like come out like early and been like, okay, this guy went over the line, and he went after Chris. Like we don't like this list, but this guy went over the line, and we don't agree with this, and we fired him immediately. I think they would have gotten a little bit less pushback.
Yep.
Maybe I don't think it would have mitigated it completely, but I think
Well,
it would have given them some good.
call me crazy for saying this. I don't necessarily like. Yes, he burden a lot of the blame is his burden. Yes, but if you're constantly living in a world where you're being gaslit by people that you're doing the right thing and everyone else is wrong, and they're just gassing you up all day. Like, yeah, you slay queen, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. You're getting people writing articles about your company, about Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what you think they do, and completely lies by omission throughout the entire thing, gaslights the entire gaming culture on the whole, pisses everyone off, and prompts puts you up on a pedestal. You start to, if you're not that bright, you start to fall into the trap of, yeah, I'm right. Everyone else is wrong and I'm doing the right thing. And it justifies your actions and makes you feel like you can do whatever the hell you want to do and it's justified. And and then you get a certain situation like what he did to Cabrutus and almost being, I don't want to say promoted, but championed at the company for doing that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, and maybe you can speak to this, but I wouldn't be surprised if after that whole Cabrutus thing went down and kicked off Gamergate 2 or reignited Gamergate 1, however people want to say it, was from that situation, how they were championing him potentially at the company for that. And that may have empowered him to be like, I'm going to do it again to someone else now. And that's when he felt empowered to try to contact and try to get me fired.
Maybe I will say that I can say that it was not all people championing him. It was there
Okay.
were people that like specifically weren't doing that, but you could be 100% right. And I think Alucard is mentioning in the chat about how he also went after Akira Toriyama right
Yep.
after he passed away,
Yeah. I
and so
actually,
he's just not a
I
good
made,
overall. He's just not a good person. Like he
no,
never
he's not.
was.
I made a video on that too. And that was before I even knew who this guy was. And I was like, really, like, it's rare to get me like really just off in emotionally, just knocking me off my balance. But that video, I was just like, what a dick. Like, the guy just died and you're jumping on his grave. Like, this guy is a fucking legend. So yeah, that pissed me off.
Yeah, and so he was not a good guy, but I honestly think that there was. I think it would be. It would maybe surprise you, I guess, that it wasn't fully. There weren't only people championing him. There were people like, "Hey, I think that what you did was wrong there." Like, I think at first maybe they may have looked at it like, "Okay, any publicity, even negative publicity is good publicity," and
Mhm.
then they were like, "Okay, no, no, no. Now you're going too far. Okay, now you're going even farther. Okay, now he needs to go." Kind of
Yep.
thing.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right.
And
Absolutely right.
I will tell you
Mhm.
that literally it wasn't oh, it escalated, and then they let him go. Like they there was a lot of internal pressure to let him go before it happened.
And they were fighting to keep him basically until they were just like, you know what? Not worth it.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of thing. That's I think one of the reasons why I'll tell you they're still on good terms. They're definitely still on good terms.
Oh, of
Uh,
course. These people, they have to stick together no matter what because their ideology requires it.
I'm trying to fix my internet, but it's
Yeah,
not
no stress.
behaving.
But anyway, so while you're doing that, we'll go on to the current situation. You said, looks like an old friend of Cabrutus and Smash finally admitted what we all knew. Chris Kindred, formerly of Sweet Baby Inc., is now officially looking for work. And this is, I'm assuming, from LinkedIn. And he said, now that I'm situated, after teaching game design at Pratt this past spring, which, holy shit, could you imagine this being your teacher?
Oh, he's been there since January of this year.
Do people know? Like, do people like? I wonder in his class. I wonder if they're like, wait, are you that guy? Like, wouldn't that cause drama at the school or friction in the
I'm
class?
gonna be honest. I think that for the most part, I mean, unless you like
live in
unless
this world,
you're plugged in, I mean, that people know his name. But ask yourself if you did not, let's say for example, you knew the name but you didn't know the face, would you assume that the guy who came to your school was this guy? Like,
no,
you wouldn't.
No. And plus, when he called my old job, he left his middle name, and I can't remember what it was. I said it in my video, the name that he left, but it was like Chris, and then something else that was like another word for Kindred or something. It's very strange.
His history is very weird because this guy, I don't know if people know this, but this guy was actually, he used to be a court stenographer.
Oh.
So he used to actually draw for like court cases and stuff like that. When there wasn't cameras in the room, he would draw that, and he was actually pretty decent. I'll give him credit.
But this is his post on LinkedIn stating, if you have a game or interactive project that needs additional writing, extra game design know-how, or a unique socio-cultural perspective, let's get in touch.
Yep. And I think it's interesting because it's clearly, I don't know if he, I'm going to wager this looks photoshopped like a lot. Like there's clearly filters on him, and that sign is clearly not what it originally said.
Right.
But I find it interesting because excuse me, but people say like, oh, maybe how do you know he was, fired? How do you know whatever? And it's like, well, think about this. He's out there now offering his services for this kind of stuff without, Kim or anybody. That's kind of already pretty telling. But I mean, he still lists that he's currently there, but I think, and this is my theory anyway, I think that what's happening is he's going to be there until all the games that he has worked on have come out. And then after that, he's gone.
Wait,
that's my theory.
Beware.
He still shows on his thing that he's at Sweet Baby Inc. That he still works there. But we all know that it's not the case. But I think that they're going to keep it like that until all the games that he's worked on have come out, because they haven't.
That's wild. So his LinkedIn still says he's actively employed.
100%. But you have to remember, he also changed his Instagram, and we caught him doing it, where he changed it to say formerly Sweet Baby Inc. So
true. I remember that. I just think when Sweet Baby Inc. Let him go, like they never responded to me. I wrote them a very serious email after he contacted where I used to work. And I was demanding some sort of communication and to let me know that they acknowledge what happened, because that cannot happen. That's like as crazy as, I don't know, not that anyone would ever do this, but like contacting your wife or something, like that's really weird.
No one would ever do that. That would be crossing a line ethically and would be almost like harassment in a weird way.
Exactly. And no one's crazy enough to do that kind of stuff.
No, definitely not.
But this situation, you don't do that. How insane do you have to be? How out of touch with reality do you have to be to pick up the phone and, after researching, like hunting down where they think that I work because I didn't update something from like 4 years ago, and they're like, "Oh, that means he's there." I'm like, "Nope, it's not." How do you know that I'm not doing that on purpose, guys? Because I know that's what people are trying to do to me.
Well, to be fair, you didn't expect this guy to go that far, but to be fair,
not him. I did expect other people, though. That's my
Well,
point.
to be fair, you do know the reason he zeroed in on you specifically, right?
Um,
You don't know this.
I can't remember. Maybe I'll remember when you say it. What is it?
He is buddy with someone who's currently in a lawsuit with you.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
very buddy. Talks about you all the time. Gives his opinion on everything you do.
That makes sense. Yep, I did know that. So yes, good point.
So yeah, he specifically zeroed in on you because of you talking about her, and then specifically because of that, you know, and also make the content you made and whatever. That's what he decided. That's when he decided to specifically go after you.
But all my content was 100% factual. Like there was nothing that he could say that was like, oh, you can't say that. It's like, well, it's what happened.
But you see, Smash, when facts come up, these people don't really understand facts. They don't like facts,
They're
as we know.
inconvenient. They're inconvenient.
Because I'm going to say this, and maybe this is going to make me sound a bit like I'm patting myself on the back, but so far, everything we've reported has been true.